Okay, so today we are talking about autism spectrum disorder, known as ASD. Autism spectrum disorder are persistent deficits in social communication and social interactions across multiple contexts as manifested by all of the following currently or by history. These include deficits in social emotional reciprocity ranging, for example, from abnormal social approach and failure of normal back and forth conversation, deficits in nonverbal communication behaviors used for social interaction, ranging, for example, from poorly integrated verbal and nonverbal communication, deficits in developing, maintaining, and understanding relationships. Severity is based on social communication impairments and restricted repetitive behaviors. Severity is also based on social communication impairments and restricted repetitive patterns of behavior. So the history of autism. The concept of autism was coined in 1911 by the German psychiatrist Eugene Buehler to describe a symptom of the most severe cases of schizophrenia, a concept he had also created. So according to Eugene Buehler, autistic thinking was characterized by infantile wishes to avoid unsatisfying realities and replace them with fantasies and hallucinations. Autism defined the subject's symbolic inner life and was not readily accessible to observers. Psychologists, psychoanalysts, and psychiatrists in Britain used the word autism with this meaning throughout the 1920s and up until the 1950s. Michael Rutter, a leading child psychiatrist researcher from the UK's Mudalsey Hospital, who conducted the first ever genetic study of autism, claimed in 1972 that the autistic child has a deficiency of fantasy rather than an access. The meaning of this word autism was then radically reformulated from a description of someone who fantasized excessively to one who didn't fantasize at all. So then we're on to Hans Asperger. The term Asperger's came from Hans, but it is no longer used anymore in the DSM-5 edition. Now Asperger's is now categorized under autism spectrum disorder. Jean Piaget, Laurent Bender, and Leo Kanner, and Elwyn James Anthony were child psychologists and psychoanalysts who used autism as a category to describe hallucinations and unconscious fantasy life in infants. The closure of institutions for mental defectives and the growth in speech therapy services in the 1960s and 1970s encouraged new models for understanding autism in infants and children. Michael Rutter and Eric Skopler had ambitions to build a new style of thinking about deviations in children's development, and that they saw the categories of autism central to this conceptual revolution. At the same time, they excluded the concepts of psychosis and schizophrenia from child psychology. This was an important moment for child psychology because autism was such a central concept. As autism was associated further with developmental disorders, hallucination, and was increasingly eradicated from the concept. These changes were reflected in the publication of the third edition of Diagnostic Statistic Manual of Mental Disorders. The childhood schizophrenia was completely written out of the DSM-3. Instead, the DSM-3 included the category of persuasive developmental disorders, a diagnosis that included 4 subcategories, namely infantile autism, childhood onset persuasive developmental disorder, residual autism, and an atypical form. At the same time, the older concept of autism, which had previously played an important part of the diagnostic criteria for adult schizophrenia in the DSM-2, was completely removed from the diagnostic criteria for schizophrenia in adults. And Robert Spitzer argued that this was due to the unreliability as an observable symptom. In other words, autism was removed as a key concept in the diagnosis of adult schizophrenia and implemented as a category within persuasive developmental disorders of childhood. So the similarities and differences with other diagnoses. So I'm going to pair autism with schizophrenia spectrum. So some of the similarities are both struggle with speech, agitation, and childlike silliness. The differences is autism does not include delusions delusions, or hallucinations. The older concept of autism, which had previously played an important role in the diagnostic criteria for adult schizophrenia, DSM-2, was completely removed from the diagnostic criteria for schizophrenia in adults. So another diagnoses that autism is similar to is sensory processing disorder, which is extreme reactivity to tactile, auditory, or visual stimulation. Sensory processing disorder is not included in the DSM, but some argue that it should be. Sensory overprocessing is shared by many children with genetic or psychological conditions like autism and attention deficit disorder, ADHD. In a study, they compared structural communications in the brains of boys with SPD and boys with autism. They visualized connections among neurons by tracking water moving through the brain's white matter. When the water molecules move in the same direction and connections are thought to be directional and strong, while water going against the flow is a sign of faulty connections. The data was so clear that kids with sensory processing differences just have different degrees of connection efficiency, particularly in the back part of the brain. These kids are not breaking down in school because parents are doing a bad job or because they are bad kids. Their brains are wired differently. So one may argue that sensory processing disorder should be included in the DSM, which is very agreeable due to studies that were conducted. So the diagnostic criteria for autism, they must meet the criteria in the DSM. ADOS stands for Autism Diagnostic Observation Schedule. ADOS is a standardized diagnostic test for autism spectrum disorder. An ADOS evaluation needs to be done in order to bill for insurance. An ADOS evaluation consists of 2 psychologists, developmental behavioral pediatrician, and a speech pathologist. An individual who has an ASD diagnosis almost always has a delay in speech. So what does the criteria mean? An individual diagnosed with ASD may have challenges when it comes to speech, socialization behaviors, and communication, verbal and non. They need support in their daily lives, and the signs of autism appear usually by the age of 2 or 3. Some associated development delays can appear even earlier, and often it can be diagnosed as early as 18 months. Research shows that early intervention leads to positive outcomes later in life for people with autism. Each person with autism has a distinct set of strengths and challenges. The ways in which people with autism learn, think, and problem solve can range to highly skilled to severely challenged. Some people with ASD may require significant support in their daily lives, while others may need less support and in some cases live entirely independent. So how do you decide to diagnose someone with autism? Children are usually referred from a pediatrician, or concerned parents sought out diagnosis after behavioral reports from school teachers, peers, etc. Usually concerns start at elementary level, but not always. Interactions are noticed in socialization with peers, possible deficits in play, conversations, or behavior in academic setting, which sometimes is noticeable, but not always. Higher functioning ASD may not appear until high school.
How might an ASD diagnosis present differently from someone with an ADHD diagnosis? The differences of these 2 disorders resemble each other in many ways, which can make it harder to decipher which diagnosis is appropriate, especially when diagnosing children. Autism spectrum disorder presents differently than the closely related ADHD disorder, also known as attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. As you can see, autism presents as repetitive behaviors, avoiding eye contact or physical contact, obsessive interests or hobbies, and trouble understanding other people's feelings, which are different symptoms that present those around me expressed with ADHD. ADHD symptoms that are different from an ASD diagnosis include having difficulty concentrating or staying on task, struggling to keep still or stay in one position for an extended period of time, has difficulty waiting and being patient, and seems to present forgetful or easily distracted. It is important to note that autism and ADHD can occur together, but do present differently. Here are the case example.
Right now, as you sit in this room, it's very easy for you to focus on my voice and understand every word that I'm saying. For you, it's the only noise in the room. This is not how children with autism hear. They hear everything. Sounds that you may not even notice they hear. And they hear them all at the same volume. So as you listen to and are able to focus on my voice, they hear the fan blowing. They hear doors closing. They hear the wait staff clearing tables. They hear the woman 10 feet away rummaging through her purse. They hear a fire truck outside. They hear people walking to their seats. They hear someone pouring a glass of water. They hear the wind. They hear a car alarm going on. They hear someone coughing. They hear a cell phone ringing. They hear a baby crying. If this is what your world sounded like every minute of every day, what would you do to cope? Would you run? Would you scream? Would you rock back and forth? Would you fight to get away? Would you jump up and down and flap your hands? Would you bite your cheek until it bled? Would you hit yourself in the head? What would you do to make it stop? What would you do to make it stop? Our kids are always doing the best that they can, always, to cope with a world that they simply don't hear the same way that we do.
How did the video make you feel while you were watching? Anxious, overwhelmed by all the different sensory input? This feeling of anxiousness, stress, and overload of sensory input can be how many individuals feel on the autism spectrum. An evidence-based intervention used for autism is applied behavior analysis, or you may have heard it as ABA therapy. The ABA therapy is based on the science of learning and behavior. This is mainly used for young children. It helps to understand how behavior works, helps to understand how behavior is affected by the environment, and how learning takes place. This evidence-based intervention is most widely used for autism is applied behavior analysis. How does ABA work? Positive reinforcement is the main strategy used with ABA therapy. ABA is a program to be unique to every individual in need of ABA services and teaches skills that are useful for everyday life. The ABCs are a three-step process that is used to help understand behavior. A stands for antecedent, meaning what happens before the behavior occurs, or rather, what triggers the behavior. B stands for the behavior that child is presenting. And C stands for consequences, meaning what happens after the behavior has occurred. Understanding the ABC process individually for each child with an ABA program is crucial in understanding what drives certain behavior to occur. What triggers the behavior and what does the behavior do for them? For example, if a child is told they have to do their worksheet at the table, and then the child screams and rips up the paper, and the teacher consoles the child to help them calm down. The antecedent, or the trigger, would be being asked to do a worksheet. The behavior would be screaming and ripping up the worksheet.